let's start. And I'm very happy to introduce Sarada Chiruvolu. And it's very rare to find somebody that's self-realized and also ready to talk about her the experiences of self-realization and the path towards self-realization. That's wonderful that we have somebody, and also she has written a book. I'm not sure if you can see it in details. I have a few copies of that book. Okay. And so if anyone is interested, it looks like this. Okay. But I have a few copies, and if you are interested, you can always let me know, and I will make that available to you in Germantown. I mean, close to Maryland. Welcome, Sarada. And some of you also know Padmaja. Padmaja works at FDA, and she has attended Sarada's sessions, and she's the one that told Sarada about some session on Sri Yoga. And so I would like Padmaja to talk a little bit more about Sarada. Go ahead.
Yeah. Namaste, everyone. And I'm very glad that Sri Yoga is, I have known Sri Yoga and I have been benefiting from it from April. My cousin Vinaka introduced me. And I have met Sarada in Karunamai Center in New Jersey a few years ago. That time she has just written the book on Home at Last, and she's courageous enough to share her experience on self-realization. And not too many of us aspiring to be have reached yet the journey. So she's going to share her journey and enlighten us how to face the challenge and what to expect. And I'm glad she's here, Sarada. And I have introduced her to FBA lunchtime yoga group, and she has given 2 more sessions. And I will let Sarada talk.
Thank you, Sarada. And I will spotlight you for everyone so people can see you better. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Padmaja, for that introducing me to all you Sri Yoga members. And first, let me thank Srikant ji for inviting me to Sri Yoga. Srikant ji, thank you so much. Namaste for having me here to come and speak today with all you members. Thank you. Well, today I'm here to share an experience of mine that I had gone through several years ago toward attaining that very essence of what all these spiritual practices are all about. For what? To reunite back to the divine essence, right? I mean, it's all about, we do so many yoga practices, this, that, types of, ritualistic activities, devotion, pujas, everything is, we all are trying to reach that divine essence. So I had actually gone through that experience myself, direct experience, several years ago. It wasn't something pre-planned or I wanted that so badly or anything. It just happened to me, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. First, let me explain what was my route I took is the yoga practice of meditation. Through yoga practice of meditation is how I got into knowing and tapping into that divine essence that we all have within each other, within ourselves. And it took almost 8 to 9 years for the whole process to finish. It's not something happens 1, 2, 3, oh, I'm done, I'm self-realized. It's nothing like that at all. And I did it through the practice of meditation, as I was mentioning before, many years of meditation, deep meditation. And then after I finished everything, this is when I wrote this book with all the details as to what happened to me. What is that inside journey is all about? Each step, what is happening within my system? What are chakras doing? What are the subtle energy centers are doing? All those things. How does that energy go? How does that energy come? What happens? All the details you want to know are in that book. So make sure you get a copy. And I dedicated this book to Amma Sri Karunamai. Have been my teacher, and I resonated with her many years ago after I was in my deep meditations, many years after I met her. And I dedicated my book to her as I had connected with her and her guidance. So I thank her for all that. And also every penny I make on these books through donation or whatever you can give, that will be good. This all goes to Amma Karunamai. Anyway, so let me just before I tell you about self-realization, enlightenment, I like to talk about a little bit about the emphasis on meditation. Why is that meditation I took? Why is that I became a passion with meditation? It became a habit for me practically, and I loved it. Meditation is the highest spiritual practice one can undergo, and it's the most direct and fastest way to reach realizing your divine essence, I think. That's what I realized. As opposed to other methods, yoga practices, there's so many of them we all are involved with. I'm sure you all know. But I think they take a little longer to reach the goal as opposed to meditation. Meditation, we absorb a lot of prana from the cosmos, from the universal consciousness. So all absorbs that. And that helps a lot, lifting up our inner energy centers, aligning them and balancing them properly. All the pranic currents, everything is perfectly aligned with meditation. Because of the prana, we absorb a lot more. It helps all that. And most of all, prana helps because we are able to sit longer and get to that quietude much easier, because it kind of like disconnects all sense perceptions from clinging on to this body consciousness all the time. Oh, I'm having pain, I'm having aches, or oh, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry. None of the above is there when you meditate, because that prana takes care of everything. It disconnects everything, so you can sit still calmly as longer than you want to. It settles you down and takes you to that quietude by itself without any effort on your part. That's great, right? I mean, we don't have to put our effort. It does everything. Meditation takes you everywhere, step at a time, to the places you need to go or to realize, or the dimensions, each one. It moves you to that stillness and that silence and that quietude perfectly. That's why I always say meditation is a focus, focusing without any effort in our part. So that's much easier that way for us. And it's excellent meditation. I know it is a little bit hard for a lot of people initially because of the bombarding thoughts and this and that. But in course of time, you all know, I'm sure you all meditate too, it subsides. It calms everything down because of the prana. You get a lot more settled down eventually. So that's the perfect way of, so you have to focus without any force, and that would be perfect then, And so that's how I did it. And I wasn't a meditator actually, from the beginning. And as I growing up, I wasn't a meditator. I wasn't into any spiritual practices. I wasn't looking for any teacher, or was I really want to aiming to get realized or get enlightened or anything like that. It just happened to me, which I'm going to tell you in a minute after this. What I want to first clear is that realization of the self, or enlightenment, what you call it, whatever you want to call it, or connecting with the divine, the source that we all come from, is not a property of one. Believe me, it's for all of us. You, every one of you will go through an experience. May not be right this life. Sometime you will get in, maybe next life or the following or whatever. But we all will reach that point. We all will go through that process. Why? Because it's the ultimate purpose of this evolution. This is the existence. Why are we here otherwise? What is it all about, the life? We need to get back and get in touch with our divine essence, which we have forgotten perhaps, or disconnected ourselves with. Naturally, we have to get back. So God is almost like testing, well, let me see how many people will come back. Let me see how many people will get back to me, type of a scenario, right? We all will get to that point. It doesn't matter if you're a meditator, if you're doing yoga for X amount of years or nothing. When it's your time, you will. So it's not a property of one, but for every one of us. Nothing special about it. Nobody has to gloat about it. Oh, I'm enlightened, I'm self-realized, but you're not. No, we're all in it in the same boat. So we will get to that point. The only thing is, it all depends a lot on where one is in evolutionary journey. We're all evolving, remember? We're not all in the same place. Some people are down there, some people are up there. So it takes time, where we are in that evolutionary journey makes a big difference in how fast you will go through that experience and realize divine essence. And it has to come, that time has to come for us, It's but when do you get that capacity or capability? It depends on you, depends on us. What are the spiritual practices we're involved with? What are we doing? How disciplined are we? How dedicated are we? How devotional are we? How badly do you want to connect back to divine? All that matters. Without that, hey, we go back in the same business, doing day to day, doing our work, watching television, eating food, sleeping, repeat. Everything repeats by itself continuously. Birth after birth after birth, right? That's what happens. Unless you really are doing something to elevate yourself and you want to elevate yourself. You want that badly, that experience. Actually, that's how it happened to me. I was like, now I'm going to tell you my story. You'll be amazed to hear this. I wasn't really doing any of these things when I was growing up, like I was telling you. It is so strange that I was working in pharmaceutical company, and then I was married. I'm married. I have a husband. I have 2 children, a family set up. That's another thing. Enlightenment and realizing self doesn't mean you have to be a sannyasi from the beginning or single or anything like that. It doesn't matter what you're doing, what your role is you're playing, and your gender or religion. It had nothing to do with anything. We all will, like I said, go through that experience regardless what your profession is or what you're supposed to be doing. So we can take care of what's in the plate, like I have done. I've been living my life just like everyone else out there. But suddenly what happened after a few years of my adult life, my children grew up, and I was working, like I said, in normal, 9 to 6, 7 hours, 8 hours a day, or 10 hours sometimes in pharmaceutical company, coming home, doing all the chores, doing this, doing that, cooking, cleaning, all the laundry that comes with life. One time, suddenly, there's this strange shift in perception took place when I was working. Now, what do I mean by that? I don't know, a strange dislike in things I'm doing. Strange way of, I don't know, didn't want to do anything. I was like a deep depression or something, oh God, why am I working? I don't even like it working. I'm not enjoying working, or I'm not really happy about something. In spite of having everything I have, I had a great husband, 2 kids, money. I don't have any problems in my life. But why do I feel there's something lacking in me? That kind of a feeling started coming within me. And I started wondering, what is all about? And it went on for a while, several days even, When I say shift in perception, that's like disinterest, dislike, and not happy about anything that world has to offer you. I'm not excited about things to buy. I'm not excited about getting together with parties. I'm not excited about meeting people. I'm not even excited about going home and doing my cooking dinners and feeding my own family anymore. Some reason, nothing excited me, but I have responsibilities. I have people waiting for me to take care of them. I didn't ignore that. I had to do it. I didn't mention this to anyone. Continuously doing my work, continuously doing whatever I have to do, cook, clean, what have you, feed everybody, take care of everybody. Of course, my kids were out of the house because they were in college by then. And it's just my husband and I. But my husband used to travel a lot and everything. And but still, I was continuously taking care of everything. When I said the shift and also something else happened, I think my Kundalini energy might be awakened at that time. You know, first thing and first sign of what happens when somebody is ready to transcend or ready to move forward. Now, this is what I'm saying. A lot of people don't even know sometimes that you are about to move into a different direction. That's, like I said, actually, self-realization, enlightenment, it kind of like, it's a sequential unfoldment of different stages. That's what it is when you say enlightenment, self-realization. It's not something that happens 1, 2, 3, I'm enlightened. Oh, I touched divine essence. I'm all, finished. No, it is step number 1, step number 2, number 3. There are 3 stages. Number 1 stage is, like I was going to tell you before, awakening. I think you all must have heard the term awakening. That is when the Kundalini gets awakened. Unless that awakens, nothing is possible. Nothing, absolutely. Because that energy has to be awakened. That's been dormant, sitting down. Normally, we work with such a little amount of consciousness or energy or prana to live and do our work in day-to-day life, right? But we need that extra boost or the leftover prana that's been sitting there, that energy, the consciousness, whatever term you want to give it, the name, it doesn't matter. Energy, consciousness, prana, they're all the same, by the way. So that has to get awakened, because that is needed for this individualized divine essence we have all within, to go back, to reclaim the divinity and the source we all come from. Without that energy, nothing moves, nothing is going to happen. So that's the first step. The second, of course, to tap into your, realize your essential nature first, what you have. We've been disconnected with that. We've been with this egoic energy. We've been dealing every day. Who am I? I'm so-and-so. My title is this. I have X amount of dollars. I'm doing this. I'm making money, blah, blah, blah. Always identifying through ego, self-centered ego, right? I mean, we have become that way. All humanity has become that way. So it's very much needed to get rid of that ego, subside that ego, dispose, let it kind of dissolve that ego, and replacing it and touching and tapping into that essential nature that we all have, because that's what the most important part. By illumination, it illumines when you really get to that self. When you touch that self, what happens? You can tell you have contacted your own essential nature, and you can feel it with that energy. You can feel, because it illumines. Great light shows up. A lot of times the light, as if it's sunshine and right in front of your eyes. That's how I felt. And the third, of course, the third stage is, of course, the total unification with that divine essence. The energy and the soul has to go back to the Sahasrara on the top of your head, where the supreme consciousness resides. It opens up and it unites with that. You unite with that. And that's the time you filled all 3 stages. And this, believe me, is not something that happens right away. And it's a messy, destructive process. Sorry to say that negative side of that is, it is not easy. By no means it is easy. It took me 8 years just to do this, another 4 years to get adjusted to this outer world again. The family, the relationships, the friendship, the interaction with people on the mundane level, everything that happens has to be on that. You have to be able to integrate everything and start living again. Today I'm like this because it took me that many years to settle down and realize that and continue to meditate. Without continuation to be in that absolute divine, you won't be able to function in this other side of the life, so-called life. It's like one coin have two sides. It's the dynamic aspect of this life called, living in this Maya, whatever, we have to function well and do well with the divine qualities, divine attributes. And that's the reason we have to connect back to the source, right? That's easy and simple. And so that's 3 steps you have to go through. And like I was telling you before, I had first step, my Kundalini was awakened, and I had so many issues after that. It took me almost, 2 years perhaps, with a lot of heat generating within you. When Kundalini gets awakened, believe me, it's not easy. All your inner systems are, what is all this? We're used to functioning with small amount of heat, small amount of energy. And all of a sudden you have 100% awake, everything is working, full blown. Naturally, everything will be a mess inside of your body. That's why taking care of your body is of utmost essential point. I want to make sure you understand. You have to read this book because I wrote details, how you must take care of your health. That comes very important, so that body can handle all these issues and tremors and disorientation that's going to take place. So you can function while you're going through these processes, still do your work and still be with your family. By the way, you don't need to leave your kith and kin and go away to Himalayas or to caves to get self-realized. Make sure of that. You stay where you are exactly with what you have, the role playing you're doing. It could be your wife, could be your husband, could be your daughter, whatever. You stay, take care of them. Take care of what's in your plate first. And then continuously meditate, continuously aim to get higher and higher states of consciousness. Eventually it'll take you. So after all that issues I had gone through with problems of digestion, problems of insomnia, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. Then I finally realized I have to take care of my body first. And I did a lot of disciplined my whole system. And I continued on, with my meditations. And meditations is the only one that sort of made me subside all these issues eventually, because divine takes care of you. Indirectly, divine is the one who's taking you up there. Without his help, you can't even go, move anything. So he's helping you. He's doing everything for you. Indirectly, you're able to calm down and you're able to settle down your issues. With the heat also, it comes, but you're able to manage. You feel like you have temperature of 106 or something. Sometimes your whole body is hot. Your hands are red. Why is that? Because the prana. This prana is causing all these problems. But all that will subside if you continue to meditate and stay in that absolute silence, stillness. And that's what happens. And eventually that took me to this ultimate state of being. What is that? I was meditating one day. I just didn't even know what I was, so I feeling uncomfortable, but settled down a little bit later. And I was very calm. All of a sudden, meditation, it took me to this, through my centers, all the chakras and everything, my energy started moving very fast inside. I could feel the vibrations. I could feel it, the movement of the energy. And it took me to my Sahasrara. All of a sudden, I can feel that as if there's something going on that's taking me away from this physical. And all of a sudden, I tapped into this finest fabric of consciousness. what I called oneness of existence, that perfect unification of no thing. What do I mean by that? There's this dimension that is so expanding, so perfect, and that is so, how do I say, it's a dimension of practically there is no form. There is no anything that you can point and say, oh, that's God, or that's this, or that. No. Then you realize you are that. You are that energy or that consciousness where everything is perfect, serenity, peace, bliss, whatever you want to call it. And sometimes I call that as primordial energy. That's where you come from when you're born. That's the pure divine essence you come and you're born with. And that's exactly, you're going back to that. You connected back to that. So you can feel that primordial energy where everything springs from and eventually goes back into. And that's what you must connect. And that you, with that connection, you forget you even have a body. And that's called Nirvikalpa Samadhi state. What does that mean? You don't have any external view of anything. You lost the external view and you lost your body consciousness. You do not know where you are, who you are. There is no idea about it's me, Sharda, or this me, my hands, my legs, nothing. You lose all that. And that's when you're fully enlightened, fully connected back to divine. And with that, you get the sense of finally being at home. As if you've been searching and searching and searching, and you're feeling this uncomfort. You're feeling that you're lost for some reason. You're feeling this inadequacy in this life for some reason. All these things will settle down when you reach that point, because you finally have that feeling of perfect state of being. You can call it bliss. You can call it peace, that utmost peace in that dimension. I think that's what it is. Actually, that vibrational frequency increases tremendously as you reach and tap into divine essence. Divine consciousness, when the closer you get and the most you're with, is the highest frequency of vibrational movement. It vibrates with such refined frequency, you can feel it. You can feel it here. You can feel it here. You can feel it. The whole body is perfectly in serene condition, excellent condition, peaceful. You'd never even want to come back. That's how good it is. With that, you get the sense of belonging, as if, I don't know, it's so perfect and unique. You don't even get that in here. This whole thing we live and carry on with our lives, with our husbands, with our children, that attachment, that the connections, nothing matters, actually. You realize later, you belong there, and that's part of you, and you're coming back to this form temporarily, actually. This life here is so temporary. Eventually, our real home, and that's why I titled my book Home at Last. When you connect back, that's when you know you're home. You are self-realized. And that has to be permanent, not temporary. That consciousness, it's almost like a river joining an ocean. There's no difference in that consciousness and yours. It flows freely. And eventually, when you're meant to come back to this form again, which in most of the cases, most of the beings that are self-realized come back, because there's still pending things to do. There's some things you need to carry on still. And so you must come back. So I might have taken, I don't know, several hours I was in that state. And I came back to this form again. I can feel it coming back. I can feel it slowly. I am getting to feel something outer world in this form. And that took a while by the time I got settled down in this body again with all that energy. And I fell down and I can't open my eyes. I couldn't handle it. It's like it has to take time to integrate all that energy back into your system, so you can function again, get up and do your work, go back and start doing your stuff. That's exactly how it was for me. And it's amazing. I don't know if I can even explain everything that I had gone through, but read my book, you will realize and you'll understand a lot better. I had indicated a lot of details there, what I felt, how it was. That's what you will all realize one day. And the reason I do these talks and I explain these because to benefit everyone out there, because we all are in it together. We all will experience. Therefore, you must know. Suppose it's your turn tomorrow. Suppose something might happen to you. You turn around in a different direction. You need to know what's happening to you instead of going to a doctor and saying, hey, I'm going crazy or something. You don't want that. That's not necessarily because you're going crazy either. You're not going crazy. God is taking you to make sure you realize, come back to Him and realize Him, that you're part of Him. And that's what it's all about. And we must do that. This is the purpose of this life. And after that, one more great thing happens actually after you realize no more births. You need not come back and take another life in this physical. No more physical body and coming back, taking another birth. There ends the cycle. Coming, going, coming, going. I call it this compelled imprisonment of incarnation, reincarnation. That's what I call it. That has to be stopped. And the only way you can stop is by self-realizing and getting enlightened and tap into that divine consciousness, universal consciousness, what we call God, right? God is not a form. Nothing is there waiting for you. He is consciousness. He is energy. We all are made up of that. And that's what it's all about. That's what I realized. And it's a great thing to achieve that. And you all will achieve that. And there are a handful out there. They're already self-realized and doing such a lot of good work out there. And after that, the priority comes, what is that we can do? Why are we still here? We can do and help others, lift themselves up and try to do and realize it's the being a human is greatest thing. Human is the ultimate form in evolution. Only human can transcend. The insects can't, the birds can't. We have that neurophysiology within us that entails for us to move and transcend that nervous system, that all that perfect alignment of our subtle energy centers, chakras, everything we have that entails us to go and reunite back to the divine essence. And that's the most important thing you realize after that. And it's not easy to come back again and function here. It's going to take some time because everything putting into practice, that resulting insights and the change in consciousness that took place within you, and put it on a mundane level of reality, it's not easy, believe me. It took me 2 years, 3 years almost to get back to normal. Even today, sometimes I always feel, God, why am I still here? What else am I supposed to do? And I do get down sometimes, depressed. And I tell Divine, when is my time to come back to you permanently? That's what I say. And until your time is up, you don't go. That means you're helping others. Maybe you're here for a reason. You're helping out, take care of something else. Maybe Divine wants you to do that. So you stay, give your life whatever you can, make a difference. And that's what I do. I do a lot of charity work now, and I do these talks, uplift people, and share my process, how it was for me. This way, everybody can realize it and go through that, and they'll understand it better when they have and when their time comes. And that's my intention. Thank you so much. You can ask me any questions you want now. I'm here. I'm open for that.
Thank you very much, Sarada. And the forum is open. Anyone that wants to ask a question is fine. I put some questions and there are some comments in the chat box if you want to take a look at it. And then we can go through individual questions. So one question, I think there are quite a few. Let's start from the beginning. Okay. So there are different types of meditation. Is there any particular type of meditation that you follow?
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have mentioned I followed Raja Yoga, Patanjali's Eightfold Method.
Okay.
Raja Yoga, yeah.
Okay.
And that's the best, actually. It amazingly did everything by itself. Step at a time, it took me to Pratihara and sense, releasing my sense perception and taking me to, all these connection and that samadhi, different levels of samadhi states. It's beautifully done, beautifully taken me to that direction. Raja Yoga is the best. And it came to me as if it's imposed on me. I didn't even think of that, going through that way of doing it. It was rather imposed on me. It depends on each constitution of individuals, I think, what you can handle, what type you be resonating with. And that's how it all went.
So the another question I had, sorry, I don't want to, that you wanted something very badly, and I thought, aren't we trying to get rid of any kind of desires? Is wanting something badly good?
Well, wanting badly something other than being with divine, wanting to be with divine, I feel sometimes even that is not good. But that it has to release it. So because a lot of times, after you self-realize, your wants are gone, your likes are gone, your desires are gone. All three are gone. For example, I have no desires. I have no wants, really, as long as I have a little bit food and a bed to sleep. To me, I couldn't care less if it's $1 million home I'm living in or what kind of a car I'm driving. To me, it doesn't make any difference. That's a different state of being, different level of being. It totally changes you. Total inner self. It's almost like a new birth, new self. You are a different person. With all those gone, living is much simpler, much easier, much peaceful, with that perfect equanimity. That's what I think it is. You're able to live.
Thank you. Rameshji, I know you have one question about self-realization. Do you want to ask it, or I can just read what you have written down there?
No, I can ask. You mentioned Patanjali Yoga Shastra, Raja Yoga, as told by Patanjali. I'm glad you said that, because there are 7 preparatory steps. You see, meditation alone may not help unless you do yama, niyama, pranayam, asana, pratyahar.
Right.
These are the very important steps. I think we have to, I think, emphasize this point that everybody is talking about meditation nowadays. You see, go and sit for half an hour, 1 hour, try to concentrate. That is one way. That is only a tool. What is more important is to prepare for meditation.
You're right.
I hope I'm understood.
No, you're perfect. You're absolutely right. But in my case, I thought maybe those are all already the preparatory things. Given the fact I have been doing that already, I didn't emphasize in my talk just now because I thought unless you do all those preparatory steps, yama niyama is understood. You got to be a perfect, righteous person, be a good person, living in a good life, and dharma and all this. Given that, unless you're there, you're not even moving forward, And the posture, of course, is very important. You got to keep it straight, and you have to make sure that Kundalini is moving in the right way, and all the subtle energy centers. That's practicing proper posture is the most important. I used to practice all this. Like I said, 8 years of all these practices I did. Before that. And then jhana, once you do get into that silence region, the ladder, to dharana and dhyana. I don't remember how to pronounce them, but latter part of samadhi states, then you continue doing longer and longer at that time. But before that, yes, practicing all these prior things, and even the breathing, pranayama is very important. You can prepare yourself. All the energy centers are in balance. Ida, Pingala are in balance. Everything has to be perfect before you even get to meditation per se. You know that. Yes, as you said, it's true. Everything has to be done before. But I didn't go through that detail, yoga, Raj Yoga in detail, because I'm sure all of you know what Raj Yoga entails.
Yeah, in USA, people are talking about meditation more.
Uh-huh.
But as you rightly said, that meditation, you can't concentrate. You will not be unless you get rid of yama, unless you observe yama, niyama, and you prepare yourself. That preparation is very important for successful meditation.
Yes.
Because from dhyana to dharana, you mentioned, divine consciousness. That step, that barrier is very difficult to cross unless you have a very sound preparation. Am I right?
Correct, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dharana, and to that, from dharana is possible, but dharana to samadhi is the most difficult barrier.
Oh, very much, very much. Believe me, I took me hours of being, continuously with that strong intent. I want to be there. By the way, they always say three things: discipline, devotion, and desire that you want to be there. Unless you have that intent within you, you want to reach that point, there's no way.
Thank you.
It depends on individuals mostly, And also I was told, I just want to mention one more thing by my teacher that I had resonated with. Her name is Amma Karunamayi. She said I was a great meditator in my previous birth. And that's why I was able to do all these in this life, which I believe 100%. Each life we do try to reach God, but we won't accomplish unless it's your time and it's right. And that's why I picked up this in this life, and I was able to move faster and properly to the end point in this life. And I believe that very strongly.
So Chirag, he has one question. Do you want me to just read what you have written, or do you want to ask the question? Chirag?
Yeah, please go ahead and ask for me. It's okay.
Okay, so his question is how heat and pain of hormonal changes, age related to you, to your timeline. Okay. How heat and pain of hormonal changes and age related to you timeline, something like that.
Meaning, how are they different from what I had gone through with the Kundalini? Is that what it is? I'm not able to understand. With the age-related pain as opposed to self-realization pain, is that it? Something like that?
Yeah, in that line, like, means a lot of women go through that and how they differentiate. Like somebody else was asking Hannah a similar question, like when they go through a lot of changes and heat, means, and you experience that as a Kundalini energy versus somebody else experience.
No, there is quite a bit of distinct difference between age-related, like menopausal pains and this and that. In other words, you're saying people as they grow older, they do go through hot flashes, this and that. It's nothing like that. It is a different type of heat, different type of agitation, and the, how do you say, it's vibrational frequencies change as you're moving toward the goal. And those vibrations, you don't get it in age-related issues. You don't feel any kind of these things in your body in the age-related, except the heat, of course. Hot flashes, yeah, I know that. But normally, with this moment of realizing your divine essence, totally different way of feeling, they're totally different. You'll know when you go through that. There's nothing to compare.
Okay, and thank you. And I have one more. also remember reading somewhere in your preface or something, how you said you have to be deep breathing a few minutes before meditation. So what kind of deep breathing you recommend, or how you do
I
it?
did pranayama. I used to do, but I was way back when I was practicing my initial years of my meditation. First, I wanted to keep my whole system aligned properly and settle down, So I used to about 10 rounds of pranayama, about 10 minutes or 5 minutes of pranayama. First, that's always I do that. That used to help me a lot. Settle down, restlessness or thinking, something or thoughts, everything goes away with pranayama, as you all know. I used to do pranayama before I actually sit quietly to meditate. And the meditation used to take off by itself without any preparation, effort put by me. I'm not doing anything when I'm meditating. It used to take me. It used to move me in different levels.
So there are different types of pranayama. So I'm just wondering if you were referring to alternate nostril breathing or something else.
Alternate nostril breathing. That's the only one I used to do.
Okay.
That's the only one I know. That's the one I used to always do. In fact, I do that even when I'm walking in the nature, because you absorb a lot of prana from universal consciousness when you do pranayama, even outside. Like even day living, that it helps a lot, right?
Yeah. Rajendra, you have a question?
I have a question. Namaste. I met you at, I think a couple of years back, I met you at Ayurvedic, there was Ayurvedic presentation. So I have your book, but I have, I didn't have a reason to read it. So probably.
But you got my book then in Ayurveda, really?
Yeah, I still have it.
Yeah, I went there once to give a talk too. I think, but I forgot his name, the gentleman that invited me to come there to talk.
Ananda Botla?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure now.
Probably, I was not ready that time. So, this year has been different. So
now you can read my book. I hope you enjoy reading my book and you'll know a lot more about my own personal journey within. What's it all like? That's why actually I push the books, and also I give out, sometimes insist one gets a copy, because until you read it, you won't really understand just from my talking 20 minutes.
Okay. Can you help us answer a question that will help us, right? Self-discover, because this is a journey of self-discovery, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one question was, when we do, alternate nostril breathing, we take a pause, right? Right. So sometimes, when you are meditating or taking, doing japa, it just feels nice. You forget the breath, right? And, so everybody has a different connection. So that connection is a very nice connection. Is that Nadi? What is Nadi Shodhan?
Nadi Shodhan.
I'm
not sure.
Meaning when you take a breath, right? Do alternate nostril breathing.
Oh, it stops for a while.
You stop for a moment.
Oh, that's like a Kumbhaka state.
Yes. Kumbhaka state. So what is that Kumbhaka state? And for people like us, what are we searching?
Well, Kumbhaka state is you're not breathing. You are not physically breathing, and you need not physically breathe. The energy and the prana and the movement and all that stuff that's going on within you, it sustains itself. How do you think these yogis and way back in Eastern or India and all these way back rishis used to stay years and years in meditative state without breathing, even sometimes in caves and that itself will sustain you. That itself will take you into the samadhi states, and you can stay there for a long period of time.
So we only stay there for a fraction of a second. It feels nice.
Yeah.
But then we realize that, so mind get distracted, and then again we go back. So
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, it's good. But Kumbhaka states is, for me at least, from my side speaking, I used to stay in that state for a long period of time, for an hour, 2 hours sometimes, because I don't need to breathe. I'm in
Yeah.
that utmost samadhi state, right? With the absolute
Yes.
silence, and that I told you, that expansive.
You just disconnect for a fraction of a second. Yeah, that's what happens to.
You could disconnect, and after a while, you slowly, it will disconnect you. When you're supposed to meant to come back to this physical body, it will bring you, it will disconnect you. And you will realize by itself you're coming back to this form, like I have used to do.
Yes.
It used to tell me when I should open my eyes. And I used to start breathing again, normally. That's what used to happen to me, at least. I don't know about others, what happens.
So is that prana or what is prana? I mean, prana ka.
That is prana.
Yeah.
Prana is what we have within that sustains us. It's not oxygen that we breathe. Oxygen carries prana, remember that. It is carries prana from universal consciousness to come in and go, come in. The more you breathe, that's why we do breathing exercises. That's why we do pranayam, to
Yes.
get more of that prana within
Yes.
us, right?
Yes, yes.
That's what it is.
Shri, we have time? I have one.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Namaste, Madam ji, again. You know, this idea of Punarjanma, we are really struggling with that idea and trying to do research. I search Patanjali Yoga Sutras and I did not find much reference to Punarjanma. What really Patanjali is talking about is you are born as a human being. And you have that awareness. You see, which other species don't have that. Human being is different than others.
Mm-hmm.
And you have that awareness. And you build on that awareness. That is your strength. See? Now, linking it to Punarjanma complicates the matter. You see, it compromises, it could have positive effect, it could have negative effect. You see, linking your performance to Punarjanma, which is talked about from since time immemorial, is scientifically not established. I mean, I'm not questioning the concept. I'm questioning whether it is necessary to think about Punarjanma and what you did in the previous birth in your pursuit of yoga.
No.
And my feeling is not necessary because
No, not at all. I don't remember what my Punarjanma.
If any Swamiji tell you because you have done your Punarjanma, I don't think he can look at your previous birth and tell you that. So best way is to have confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
That as a human being, you have that awareness, you build on that and you strengthen yourself.
Exactly.
So why not separate Punarjanma from this yoga philosophy? Yoga philosophy doesn't require even thinking about Punarjanma.
I know a lot of people ask me that also, do you remember your previous birth? Do you remember what you did? What is the use of all that? I'm here in this life and I have obtained and realized myself within me, and I have connected back to the divine essence, the universal consciousness.
Exactly.
And that's what's most important. Maybe I was a meditator, like I was telling you before in my Punarjanma. So what? So it carried on here and then helped me actually to get back to that. Maybe because I didn't finish it last time, So I got another birth. I came back again. Now I finished it. I don't have to.
I'm saying we should not think of that. That is what I'm just.
No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't think about Punarjanma.
Disconnect with all this nonsense.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I agree.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Shri Krishna, you want to say something? So again, I have a few books in Maryland, if anyone is interested.
Yeah.
And, I put down in the chat box information about her email. And when we process this recording, I will include that information also. It will be a YouTube recording, which will have your contact, Sarada. And again, so thank you very much for the session.
Shri, I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for a very good explanation, Sarada. I have heard your talks before. This one was much different and I enjoyed it. Yeah, and what I wanted to know is like, I understand everything that you talked about. Somebody was saying that you should not think about Punarjanma and all those things. I think like it is a personal thing. We have no, I mean, like as an individual, we don't need to tell what others think about it or not to think about it. That's an individual decision. And I'm firm on that because like we are all, we have all our own rights. But one thing that one of my gurus said is, Sri Ravi Shankar one time said is, when people wanted to know about the previous lives, he said, like when you are unable to handle your own life, what happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, if you come to know about your previous life, you won't be able to survive. Right? So that is the best answer I had. And yeah, that's the best answer I had.
Why do you want to create all these headaches now? Again, thinking about that also. Please handle what we have in your plate first.
Yeah, that is true. And it depends upon the level of maturity, like given a limited length of life, do you want to focus on the rebirths or do you want to focus on the knowledge required for self-realization, right? Most of us, we focus on being using, wanting to use time optimally. We want to focus more on the self-knowledge. Exactly. So that being the case, also, Ramana Maharshi and other, you have followed the Raja Yoga, and I am not that much familiar, although I tell my meditation students to do the pranayama and other things. But also Ramana Maharshi's method of self-inquiry, like where you are the witness. These are the advanced techniques. There are many ways. And also somebody was commenting, like people teach meditation. There is no other way. Like when you have to teach a 1 hour meditation, you have to start somewhere. And gradually these people have to attend other talks where they learn about the Raja Yoga and the way of being a witness and all those things. And then they have to incorporate. But sitting at one place, even Karanami and so many Sadhguru, so many people say the first thing is being able to sit at one place and being able to drop the thoughts, at least slowly reduce the thoughts. And then find time to be in satsang with people like Sarada, Shri, and so many other people, and then get the knowledge. What is the requirements for like self-realization and other things. Like people think self-realization is, and one of the things about a desire for self-realization, I heard it again and again, is you need to, people get confused about having desires, but as far as self-realization is concerned, one should have a burning desire. For self-realization. That is one, it is a desire you need to have a desire to desire self-realization. That is a must, right? That is it is very important, and people get confused with the desires. And also people have a doubt, like what is the purpose of life in the spiritual path? The only purpose of life is self-realization.
That's true.
So it's nothing else. Yeah.
Actually, that's really true, because otherwise, tell me something. What would you say if I ask you, why are you here? Otherwise, what is this? It's like this, eating, drinking, and sleeping, and watching TV, and going to bed.
Yes.
Continuous and getting all these attachments. My kid, my husband, my this, my that, and that's it. You go. You old age and you leave, and repeats itself. The cycle.
See, only by being exposed to this knowledge, what is the ego? What are these desires? Why do they say that we have to be away from desires? And then we start thinking about it. And then slowly we disconnect in a natural process. That is when you get prepared for self-realization. It is not a certificate, right? It is an arrival to, you see, two questions I have is basically, not to deviate from the point. One is like I study, now I I understand pretty much of what gurus say, what you say, and other things. But I'm also curious very much about what even our scriptures talk about as a witness is like we in deep sleep state, dream state. And what fascinates me is not interpretation of dreams, but it is the dream body. Like when you sleep, again, you have a dream body, and that is again doing its own drama, theater, or whatever it is doing. So do you have any insights as an enlightened person about why this dream body? What is it? What has it got to do with our consciousness and our existence? And I know it is something precious. People may not know it. It is telling something. I know, like it fulfills the desire that you cannot fulfill when you are awake. That is also okay. But bottom line is, what is that?
Well, I feel the way I understood the three states.
Yeah.
Awake state, where we're functioning, here, doing everything. Wakeful state, dream state, and deep sleep state.
Yes. Yeah, no, when there are no dreams. Yeah.
No dreams. And wakeful state, of course, we work, we do through that consciousness, we, function. Dream state, I believe, is when you lose your subconscious. Actually, I think it's all the previous births and the incidents and the episodes we've been through. I think it's as if soul is kind of a understanding or reminding itself, and it's each situation is like that. Some things maybe we have done, something the soul has been with, experienced it, and that comes out as a dream. That's how I think,
Yeah, because do you get dreams?
Yeah, exactly, because that's exactly what it is. It's in your
do you still get the dreams?
Yeah, I still get dreams even now. That's a state. As long as you're in this physical body,
okay,
I still have all three. I'm still functioning with all three. And the deep state is when you're with absolute, with your divine self, and totally you lost your totality of your physical body.
Yeah, one difference could be that your
total awareness is there.
Yeah, one difference could be your dreams could be different from the dreams of mine or other people. In the sense, yours may be more spiritual.
Perhaps sometimes they are. Sometimes I'm always seeing my teacher Karunamai Amma comes in my dream. She already told me a couple of times, yes, you were with me a couple of times in some lives. I don't know. She's a great lady. She's I know she can predict. She knows all about me, by the way. She predicted that I would come back to her, connect back to her in this life, and all that stuff. We usually have a lot of conversations. I support her 100% in a lot of her humanitarian projects. And there's another thing I do. I want you to get a book up and donate something. All that donations go to Amma Karunamai, please, when you get a copy from Srikantji. And,
yes. I have one more critical question. Before that critical question, I want to say something, share something that many of my gurus shared. Is basically people are very curious about wanting to be self-realized, but that is the stage when you do not belong to your family, but you belong to the world. And because your whole responsibility is of the world, not that of an individual. That's my understanding, right? When you are a self-realized person, you have utmost responsibility towards the welfare of the whole world, not just your own family.
Exactly.
So if only
only
when the divine or the universe realizes that this person is capable of doing that, then you are allocated. Perhaps.
maybe that's why not everybody is self-realized already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That because I know, because I'm in the spiritual path for a while, and maybe from childhood I was exposed. And the critical question I wanted to ask is, I heard from Sadhguru Kamma Karunamayama from you that about self-realized, and I appreciate your sharing. But at the same time, they say self-realization is not for an individual. It is a collective thing, something like that. Can you comment anything about that? What it means? It's basically your self-realization is not pertinent to limited to your body. Of course, we know consciousness is infinite, right? Consciousness has no boundaries, no limits, nothing like that. But basically, when somebody says, I am self-realized, there is a misstatement. I'm quoting somebody else who also was self-enlightened, but it is an enlightenment, a collective, something like a...
It's a collective thing, because you see, you're already, actually, we all have self within us.
Yes.
It's tapping into that is what we're disconnected
Yes.
with, majority
Yes.
of us,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So if one individual can do that and connect back to that self, it
Yes.
will help as a unity. Collectively, it uplifts everybody. Everybody will consciously try to do that. It's like changing handful of people to the rest of the whole.
So it is shifting the conscious
Exactly.
the level, uplifting the...
Exactly.
Because in the 1990s, there is Mahesh Yogi did a meditation, perhaps in, I think in the Washington DC area to, or New York, I don't remember, like to reduce the number of the percentage of crimes with a group meditation, and the group, and that one led to the reduction in crimes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Group meditations are good because you're giving out that energy to everybody else, and it sort of touches the rest of the people. Everybody is supposed.
So the consciousness level
and
is
then
shifted.
they meditate better, because of that. And even with enlightened people, self-realized people, let's say for me, people that are around me are being benefited. And that's why all the gurus and teachers will tell you, self-realize first, get enlightened. Why? Why do you think they say that? It benefits as a whole. It benefits everyone.
Because that is
the energy field and that energy you emit that comes out spreads everywhere. It calms down everywhere. It uplifts everybody. And that's the reason. You know that.
I know. Actually, it is also you serve as a
medium,
as a confirmation or validation that yes, you too can get enlightened.
Exactly. Yep, it benefits everybody. And for example, a lot of times my kids even tell me right now, Mom, when I'm with you, I feel so good. When I'm with you, I feel so peaceful. Why is that? Because I emit that positive consciousness, divine energy out that benefits other people around me as well. They feel good. They feel comfort. They feel peace.
I'll give you a small example. Is basically it may benefit others also. Many years ago in the 90s, I was there were very few people in those days with Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. And I didn't know why I was going there. And one day I sat and there was nobody else. Today, there's no way you can find a seat next to Shishi. But in those days, like in the 90s, then one day I sat in front of him to ask a question, and then I didn't get the question. What is the question that I wanted to ask? Then I told Guruji, I wanted to ask you a question, but my mind has become blank. Then he said, it is good, no. I didn't understand how is it good? I wanted to ask a question, but after my involvement in the spiritual path, then I realized in what I teach today, or what I aim for in the meditation, reaching that blank state is the objective of the meditation. And and sitting in front of the Guru, I went to that state 2 times.
Because you were resonating with his energy. They both
2 times two times it happened to me, like a total silence of the mind. And that is.
And sitting with Amma, next to Amma, that happens to me right away. In fact, first time I met her, my energy field resonated with her energy field right away, connected very easily. I felt very strong connection with her. And like that, some people can feel it,
I see a dent in your Agna, near your Agna chakra.
That's very from my deep meditations. It used to vibrate so much. those days. It formed a depression here practically. I know you can see that. And I even asked my teacher, Amma Karunamai.
There is a correlation, I see.
Yeah, then she says to me, "Are you kidding? It's very rarely that happens, and it happened to you. Don't worry about it." She says. I ignore it now, but I'm used to it now since many years. I had that after my enlightenment. I self-realized because my my vibrations used to be very strong, very strong, especially in the Agna chakra. Used to continuously move when it's about to reach the Sahasrara. And I couldn't handle that a lot of times.
Yeah. Thank you from our end, my end, our end, like a beautiful sharing and very helpful sharing.
I really enjoyed being with all of you today. And again, thanks to Srikant Ji for inviting me to his Sri Yoga.
Thank you, Sarada. You are always welcome. Anytime you want to enlighten us.
Yeah, whenever you want to let me know, and I'll come. Maybe more Q&A, more people, whatever. It's up to you.
I think Hana is one question. Hana.
Okay.
Guruji, तुम्ही विचारता का?
Hana, can you ask a question? Hana?
So Hana's question है कि her question is, I can relate to some of what she's saying. I have vibrations. I can't sleep well. I also have no interest in stuff. I thought I was getting sick and doctors have done tests, but can't find anything. I would like to get your book and connect with the speaker further if I may. Thank you.
She can contact me. Srikant Ji, please give them my email address. They can contact me through me.
Yeah,
a lot of people call me. A lot of people email me. A lot of people have personal one-on-one sessions with me. I do a lot of these things all the time.
So yeah, Hana is local here, so I can give Hana you a book. And also I have posted the email on the chat box. So you're welcome to contact Sarada anytime. I can also give you her phone number.
Yeah, that's my full-time job now, actually. I'm quite busy when I'm not taking care of my home, what's in my plate first. I do a lot of Zoom conversations. I do a lot of talks, and I do a lot of individual one-on-one question answer sessions. And a lot of people with other gurus, they are there. They call me. What is the process is like? They'll want to know. So a lot of these things I do that. I keep busy that way.
Sarada ji, we have to be beware of gurus.
Sorry?
We have to be beware of gurus. We have to study yourself. One has to study this yoga oneself.
Right.
Listen to gurus, but unless one does himself.
Oh, definitely. That's another thing I say. Gurus are good. They're there to help you, but you do all the work. Exactly. You have to put in the effort.
I'm glad
not gurus.
We should emphasize this point. There's a lot of gurus say a lot of these things.
No.
And Patanjali has documented so beautifully, in 196 sutras. And all these gurus are interpreting it in their own way. For example, they are making this meditation as a business, a lot of people. They say it is an answer to all ills, but they don't help the participants to prepare themselves.
And also you need to know which guru you're dealing with. There's some fake ones there too. I'm sorry to say. They're not true gurus either. You have to connect with the right ones. Who is the right one that you can feel it? Once you know, you can feel it. You can sense it. You can tell,
It is self. You can do all these things. Listen to guru, but focus on yourself and develop yourself. Right? That's right.
For sure. Yep. I agree. In my case, I did everything myself. I worked hard, believe me, because my intent, my desire was continuously, I wanted to connect. That's what it is. Those days, that was all in my mind, nothing else, nothing else. And that stage will come to every one of you. That stage will come with every human being, eventually. That's what I say.
One thing I'm realizing for myself is I don't have desire, so I will never be self-realized.
That's not true, Srikanti.
Really, when you say burning desire, it's never going to happen in my life.
Sure it is.
Not this life, at least.
Never know. Never know.
No, there's a desire to be desireless. I think Guruji, you are always helping. So that is the desire.
Yeah, exactly. He's always teaching and helping.
But in my view, it's whatever it is, it's happening. It's not like I'm doing it. And in terms of self-realization, I will never have a burning desire to be self-realized. Anyway.
You are already.
You perhaps are realized already, you don't even know. Everybody says that we are already self-realized beings, but you just don't know some of them. Knowing that you realized, knowing you connected, and that direct experience is what you need to go through. Only then you know for sure. The knowledge comes with it. No scripture can give you that knowledge, and it can go away. It has to be continuous the way you live, as long as you live. That's the way.
Swamiji or Sharadaji, more you think about self-realization, what you come down to is you are part of this nature. And you go back to the nature.
Exactly.
That's all it is. What is this philosophy? It is confusing so much. If you think that you are, just like what's happening to all other species, every part of these universes, they are created by nature and they go back to nature.
Yep, that's it. Like I told you before when I was giving my talk, everything springs from that absolute. And
exactly. If that foundation, that becomes the foundation of one's personality, that's self-realization. There is nothing special. We are searching for self-realization as something special, some distant goal, some pathway to that. But shortcut to that is that you are part of this nature. Nature means I'm not saying Earth. I'm saying about the whole universe. And we don't know whether there is one universe, there may be several such universes. So we are part of that system.
Yep.
We go back there and we come back from there and we go back from there and we come back. And this cycle is going on in different forms and different concepts. So we are lucky to born as a human being and we are this awareness. And if this awareness can take us to this simple idea that you are not self, that is, you forget yourself and you become part of nature. Simple. So that is the barrier of self has to be crossed, right? Then all this philosophy becomes very simple. It doesn't become that complicated.
That comes only when you tap into it directly and you experience that whole thing. That's
I think this should be understood by everybody in the audience, because a lot of confusion is caused by this philosophy of different kinds and different terminologies and different words.
Yeah.
It has to be simplified and made achievable. We have to make, what is the problem? How do you solve it? So you have to solve the problem. And to solve the problem is to understand the nature of the problem and nature of the solution you are going to. Both should be clear, then only you can go from problem to solution. And that's what the whole meditation yoga process is about, right? Okay, thank you. I'm just sharing my...
Yeah, thank you, Ramesh. Looks like Shobha has one question or comment.
Yes, yes. So I'm quite confused about this self-realization. Is it something that you have realized that you have transcended the cycle of birth and rebirth? Does that mean you have got the ultimate nirvana from this cycle of birth and rebirth?
Freedom, yeah, moksha.
Freedom from
moksha.
That, moksha.
Moksha, yeah, that's what I got.
Okay.
Yes. That's why I don't have to come back. That's why realized beings do not come back into another time, another janma, another life. They don't take another life in a form like this physical form. They don't have to be there, trapped into the form, and then live again. Or your wife or husband or kid or whatever. You don't have to take a role play any longer. You are done with that cycle of coming back, going back, stops.
Okay. So it is We used to hear
that's
about,
that's the purpose of this whole thing is in the first place.
right.
That's why we
Mhm.
do all these things. That's why we
Right.
go through all these lives to connect
Yeah.
back. So you don't have to go through that anymore. You can stop this nonsense. That's the
Mhm.
best part about it. Best part about this whole self-realization enlightenment process. You
Mhm.
have to go through that so you don't have to come back. It's such a headache to come back and live again. When you think about it, imagine going through the old age, going through this engage and doing this, doing that. How many times have we done that? Imagine that.
Mhm.
You know,
But
it
to
has-
realize you
Yeah.
had to spend so much of your time
Yes, you do.
to meditation and dharana and everything.
Of course,
in-
nothing is easy. You have to pay attention.
And you were doing you're still doing your job.
Yep, I
full-time
gave up my
job.
job. I'm sorry. No, I didn't tell you that. I gave up my job because my thirst and my ambition was to find out,
Mhm.
to connect with divine. So I didn't want the job anymore. I didn't want to work anymore. So I resigned after a while. After some time, I spent more time in meditation, more time in being by myself, more time contemplating on that divine.
Mhm.
I spent a lot of years, 9 years, 8 to 9 years doing that. It's not easy thing. I told you that in my talk earlier. I
Right.
don't know if you were there. I was explaining
Yes,
it.
yes, I was there throughout.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was a process that takes long time,
Mhm.
depending on each individual's constitution, how
Yes.
strong you are, how well and healthy you are, how your
Mhm.
body is very good and conditioned to handle all this. Otherwise, you
Right.
won't. Otherwise, you won't move further.
Yes, yes.
That's the way it works.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Looks like Anjali Joshi has a question. So just before that, I just want to make sure that Sarada, you are okay with it. You know, I don't have any problem. You know,
No problem.
extending
No
this.
problem for me.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Thank you. Go ahead, Anjali, and after that, Satish.
Namaste Shardaji, thank you so much for your beautiful presentation. I have one question, means like after this beautiful experience of self-realization, when you again sit for meditation in your day-to-day life, do you have again desire to reach that state? Because I think that stage must be a lot of fulfilling and lot of joyous. So now you, every day when you meditate, do you have desire to reach that state again and again, or if that happens it happen only one time, or it happens again and again, or if it doesn't happen, do you have desire to experience that again? Means how is the meditation after that experience?
Actually, it's a good question.
Thank you, Anjali, for that question. I had that same question.
Yeah,
I posted in the chat box.
I'm so glad that you asked me that question. It's an excellent question.
Thank you.
Now, the meditations I do now continues on for me. But I'm always in that consciousness, in absolute consciousness. I'm always in that deep samadhi state. It never goes away because I already reached that point. It doesn't go back and forth any longer. It always, when I sit in meditations, I'm always with that deep silence. I'm always with that, the energy, all the energy and all the pranic energies sits in my absolute silence, divine consciousness. It unites all the time with that only. And it comes back into the form later. So that clarity in perception gets better and better and better each time. You are in that samadhi state and that quietude much longer time now than before. It was before, okay, yeah, you experienced all that and you came back, but you were there for a little amount of time. But now I'm there all the time. It's continuous the rest of your life. As long as you're in this body still, the union, the communion with divine consciousness is continuous. It doesn't go away. It's always there. That's the best part.
Excellent, thank you. And one more thing, means now when you do all your day-to-day activities, you identify yourself with your body or with the consciousness?
I use this body now as an instrument. It does things for me. That's it. I don't really have any interest in this body. I in fact, to take a shower and take care of this and physically clothe myself is a job for me. To take care of this physical is a job. I feel a headache sometimes. How long am I going to be in this body to take care of this physical so I can present myself when I'm mingling and interacting with people? Sometimes those thoughts do come and it's crazy, but that's the fact. I don't identify with my body. I don't identify with I identify with what's inside of me, my divine essence. I live with that. That's what directing me to do things. That's the insights I get, what to do, when to do, what is next step. My intents get stronger. My attitude, my self-confidence gets bigger, perfect now. It's the best way to live is after self-realization, because you're always in that peaceful state, in that equanimity is so good that nothing can shake you as easily as it used to do before.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And again, I'll talk to you, and if there is an interest in further discussion on any specific topic.
Yeah, you give me a call and we can go and arrange something later on.
Sure. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
and thank you so much.
Thank you.